Good day, podcast community. Pete Kane here, Podcast Pete. We have a special podcast. When we, as people, go into that creative mode, we were talking about it before we got on the air. What we have, you're going to hear from somebody that's stepping out on faith, stepping out on her talents, her skills to bring to the market. So get ready for Cookie. So, Cookie, tell our viewers who you are, what you do, and who you serve, and then we'll get into our podcast.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Cookie. I am a master cosmetologist. I do specialize in extensions, but I am open to serving everyone. I am a Miami native, but I've been in Atlanta over 10 years now. So I'm bringing some Miami heat to the city.
Love it.
Yes. Um, I am a mother
Mhm.
and I am also a big sister to a sickle cell advocate and patient. So yeah, that's me.
That is so awesome. So, we know a mutual friend of ours, Tony Van Dyke, and
Mhm.
Tony always looks for people that love life. He has a I say, Tony, this is back a couple years ago. I said, I want you to spot the people with big smiles, big hearts, and just bring life and joy, and then send them my way.
Yes.
Said, okay, so he's always looking for people, and I can tell he's found a winner. So tell us, like when you're and so many people, we have that fear and courage muscle, or
Mhm.
say courage is with faith. So you're working, and now you're saying, okay, time to step out, time to create my own journey, my own path. So, what was that conversation like in your mind when you were just kind of contemplating the journey?
I realized I wasn't completely happy with where I was. And so one, it was admitting like, hey, you're not happy. You're not doing what you're passionate about, and you're not doing what you put the work into doing. So then there was a little bit of fear.
Mm-hmm.
What if I fail? What if this doesn't work out how I expected it to? And then that's when my faith came into play, and I had to realize you can't be fearful and faithful at the same time. So my faith outweighed that fear. And I prayed over it for months. I prayed over it and I was like, Lord, give me some signs, remove me where I don't need to be. And things got uncomfortable in my workplace. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? You were praying. And although things got uncomfortable for you to realize you need to remove yourself, that's the confirmation that you needed. So I devised a plan and I prayed over it and I got quiet. I stopped talking and I started doing. And here we are.
Man, that is so good. I mean,
Yeah.
to hear your thought process, I want our viewers to really listen and understand that we all have a certain amount of fear.
Mhm.
And we can either, you know, exercise that fear muscle, which we don't want to do because whatever we think about when it comes to fear, it's going to grow. So if we
Mhm.
grow in fear, it's going to crush our faith and our courage muscle. So when you're in this kind of mindset, I want our viewers just to kind of like, okay, so you make that step. What was the next thing that you do? Because we're all about action. We're all about activating on, I believe, 1000% on prayer. And I want to say to people, God expects us to be involved in it. There's so many times we sit and we go, okay, God, what are you going to do for me? And it's
Mhm.
no, I'm opening up doors, but you ain't walking through it. So,
Mhm.
so kind of like that. It's getting a little uncomfortable. You're praying through it. It's like you make that step of faith. how did it make you feel that you activated that part of it? What did that you could share with our viewers, that part of that journey?
I felt relieved. Even like physically, I was getting sick at one point, and there would be times where I would be in the shower and I'll start crying, and I would literally vomit. It was like things was being released, out of my system. My nervous system was being regulated. That gave me the confidence to trust the process. Things are not gonna go smoothly. It'll
Mhm.
get rocky, but just those little signs like that, as far as my mental health and my actual physical health, I saw the shift. I was like, you have to be confident in your decision and trust the process. So faith without work is pointless.
Yeah.
And so I implemented a budget, and I was like, I'm gonna move. I reached out, I spoke up. So I spoke up to my
Mhm,
support system, my mentor. I
mhm.
reached out to her and I said, hey, this is what I need to do. I'm giving myself 3 months to figure it out. And she's also a woman of faith. And I feel like she probably went on her own and prayed over it. And she called me back and she said, hey, let's do this, right? And I said, okay. And so I literally just relocated 2 weeks ago, and I'm literally just trying to trust the process.
No, that I love that, that you shared that with our viewers, because it is so much we hold back, that we just let that fear grow, and it never helps us, but it's a real thing that we have to kind of step out. Now tell me about your mentor, because there's a misnomer about the solo entrepreneur. There ain't no solo entrepreneur. It's a
Never.
team entrepreneur. So
Hmm.
you reached out to her. So tell our viewers, like, what does it mean that you decided to reach out to your mentor, to the person that you have trusted, have faith in, share a similar faith? What was that like, that conversation? Like, tell our viewers, like, because we want them to take that step, but could you encourage our viewers with what you could share a little further on?
So for me, I think that when you surround yourself with people that are doing what you aspire to do, it will
Mhm.
motivate you and encourage you to get to that point. So her name is Adrienne Leaks. She
Mhm.
is also a master cosmetologist. She's been in the industry maybe 20 plus years.
Wow.
Um, I worked with her before, maybe 10 years ago, but I was in a different headspace
Mhm.
and I didn't take advantage of the opportunity like I should have. But over the years, I've grown and realized like she's a very great person in the industry to work under. She
Mhm.
works for major brands, so I'm sure you've seen her work, but she's like the one that's in the background. Um, and she's also a woman of God.
Mhm.
Before I got on this journey that I'm on, it was kind of annoying because I would be like, I don't want you to pray for me. I don't want you to tell me what to do. Like, no, let me figure it out on my own. But a part of my story is I lost both of my parents at a young age.
Mhm.
And so I thought that, I had everything figured out on my own, but no. In my becoming a parent, I realized you need support. You need that person that has been there and done that, to kind of help guide you and so that you don't make, all the wrong decisions. And so I can
Mhm.
appreciate her for continuing to have that space for me, um, to invite me back in and help me figure things out.
Ooh, that's so good. So yes, I don't know what the study was, but they talk about what it does to us physically when we are around the toxic nature of people. Like, the news plays on everything negative. That's how they get your attention. And so sometimes we put those toxic things in our life and we wonder why it wears off on us. What have you done in the last couple of years to put yourself with people that like your mentor and more of those type of people that has helped you in that your journey? Do you intentionally look for people that will lift you up?
Yes, and I've been more mindful, just like a lot of stuff, what I watch, what I listen to, the type of people that I'm around. Like I have some friends that I love and adore, but every time I talk to them, they want to gossip or they have, something negative and they dwell on the negative. I've kind of cut back on those interactions because it, energy is like transferable, right?
Mhm.
Like seriously. And so I'm like, I love you, but where I'm trying to go and where I'm headed, I can't just sit in that energy all day, every day. Granted, we all have our moments, we all have bad days, but it's all about the positive thinking, your mind state.
Mhm.
Um, I started reading like self help books,
Mhm.
and I was like, what you think, your attitude determines your latitude, right? What you think and
Yes.
what you focus on plays a major part. And so I think that's what's also helping me during my transition.
No, that is so good that you shared that with our viewers because I I, just like you talked about the energy, one of my mentors, Brendan Richard, and he talks about generating the energy, generating the joy, being
Mhm,
intentional, and always look at the effects of our relationships. If somebody's always tearing us down, it's not gonna it's not gonna help us. Like gossip is gossip, and people
mhm,
if they continue to do that, it becomes just a toxic like mindset. So
mhm.
books like when you wake up in the morning, give our viewers an idea of what your morning routines like as you get prepared for the day.
Well, currently, since I'm a full time entrepreneur, I have the time to stretch.
Hmm.
I will listen to something. I'm not really big on like the podcast every day, but I'll put on like either gospel music or a sound. I like to listen to frequencies.
Hmm.
And then I get my little one together for daycare. Then I do the gym.
Hmm.
I'm back active with that. And then I take a moment and I'm like, what can you do as far as marketing goes or networking goes?
Hmm.
Um, and I'll make an Instagram post or reach out to a few clients, check in, and then I just go with the flow for the day.
Hmm. Oh,
Hmm.
that's so good. So, what? How do you wind down in the evening after you put your daughter to bed? As an have you come to a place where you're comfortable with that wind down phase?
I'm slowly transitioning to that.
Mm,
For me, I like to clean. Cleaning and organizing is therapeutic for me. So I'll, get the kitchen cleaned, straighten up her play area, and then I'll either listen to a few pages or something like on audiobook,
mhm,
or I'll check in with a loved one because I have the time now.
mhm,
Um, I'm just trying to be more there in the moment for my loved ones, because there was a disconnect for a long time
mhm,
in that area. I want to leave my mark. Like when it's my time to go, I
mhm.
want people to say, "Hey, Cookie was present. She was there, and I know she genuinely was there for me."
Wow, I love that. I love that word present, 'cause we're so distracted with stuff.
Hmm.
You can always when you're talking to somebody, you can tell if they're present because their eyes will start drifting off. Who's in that back? Who's in the room? And so
Hmm.
what do you do like to be present? How what's your thoughts like when you're in a conversation and you say I want to be present? what does that mean to you, and how could you share to our viewers just what you mean by that?
For me, I have to cancel out the background noise. So no phone, like the social media, because sometimes you can be on the phone but still scrolling, right?
Mhm.
Um, the TV, I hardly watch TV. I'm a music listener, so I'll turn my music off. And just like pay attention, like listen to really listen and not listen to respond, and let
Mhm.
that person know like, hey, I'm locked in and focused on what we're talking about in
Mhm.
this. Mm-hmm.
What would you say, like, uh, I get a tone that I'm really excited about, and it's the relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I see you just in the short time I've known you that you believe in relationships. You reached out to your mentor. So what is relationships and your business? What could you share with our viewers? What does that mean to you?
To me, it's everything. My clients are not just clients. They're friends, they're family. I service families.
Mhm.
And so to me, like that relationship is, it sets the tone for everything. I like to meet clients organically. Like social media marketing is great, but when I'm out at the grocery store and I'm talking about the price of eggs and I'm like, oh, your hair is nice. If you ever need a backup stylist, here's my card, and then
Mhm.
it's more memorable and it's more genuine. Like I flourish through interaction with people.
Mhm.
It just, it makes me feel good.
Yeah, no, there's um, I was after I had a stroke 3 years ago, and I had two hernia surgeries after that,
Hmm.
and everybody like will talk about the young people being on their phones, and so I'm in this waiting room, and usually people going through hernias are a little older, so it
Hmm.
was an older crowd, and there was 20 people in that waiting room. 18 of them had their face in the phone.
Hmm.
Like, oh my gosh, it's young, it's old, it's everybody. It's not
Hmm.
our younger people, which when you're young, you grow up with the phone. It's different than
Hmm.
I come from the before the phone even came around. So
Yeah.
the same way you are. When my daughters text me, I pick up the phone, I call them. I just
Hmm.
call. And because I feel energy when I'm talking to them, I don't
Hmm.
feel it in a text. And so we sometimes are so busy not connecting with people, we lose that relationship, that connection. There's nothing better than talking to people and actually feeling the energy that
Yeah.
goes, which you can't have in a text. So when you started first 10 years ago, what really excited you about being in the industry? What did you like most?
I like helping people feel better.
Hmm.
Everyone's beautiful. Everyone's beautiful to me. I just enhance it, right? When you look good, you feel good, and it kind of translates in other areas of life. So I love when people look in the mirror and they're like, "Oh my God," or they're taking their selfies and they're dancing. It just feeds my spirit.
Yeah,
Hmm. I
that
feel
is.
like my purpose is to serve.
Mhm.
So,
Man, if I could, we're going to do a short on that one because it is, when we go through as people, we go through trauma,
hmm.
and this was just that. I think it was at Rotary or one talking about how this person got through their trauma. They just served more. They went
Hmm.
out and served. They served, and they felt through that whatever trauma they were talking about just got a little smaller because they served people. So,
Hmm.
what would you say? Like, I want to shift gears just a little bit. You lost your parents at a young age. So
Hmm.
that trauma, like, how did you get through it? What was helpful that our viewers could could learn from in that trauma, which that's, there's not too much worse than that.
Therapy
Right.
helped me. For years, I was in denial that I was grieving as hard as I was, and I got distracted with worldly things. Um, and it wasn't until COVID happened that I had time to slow down
Mhm.
and process everything. I've always worked in the restaurant industry. You know that we got hit. Yeah, we got hit the hardest when COVID happened.
Yeah.
Um, and so here it is, 2 to 3 months. I'm in the house because I stopped doing hair as well because I have a sickly brother. I'm
Mhm.
in the house and I'm like, okay, you have to be okay with being alone. And so I wasn't okay with being alone. I'm like, why aren't you okay with that? And that's when I started digging deeper and deeper. I guess some
Mhm.
people will refer to it as shadow work. I'm digging
Mhm.
deeper and deeper. And I started realizing I had issues like abandonment issues and trust issues. And it all stemmed from my parenting issues and then the death of my parents without being able to work through that.
Mhm.
Um, so when I got pregnant, I realized you need to do therapy. And so I started therapy, and in that, along with getting closer to God, restoring my faith, I realized there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, we all do, and,
Mhm,
we don't wanna, I'm around therapists all the time. I've been to them. I I'm always around people. I'm very intentional about the relationship part
mhm,
and being by yourself because when when I had my stroke, I had plenty of time to think, like,
mhm,
all the time, and it was kind of like getting reconnected with my faith because I was a avid golfer, runner,
okay.
and I kind of looked at those as my idols because I always kept busy because I guess I didn't want to do that self-reflection.
Mhm,
It's hard to listen to yourself because you got so much going on. It's like if you stay busy, you don't have to do that. But God has a way of taking things away from us, pulling us away from these
yeah,
distractions to get us to focus on Him. And
mhm,
when that happens, it is like, I mean, I love my quiet time now. I would not
yes.
say that before because it just like I didn't know what I missed.
Mhm,
So when you look at life being a journey and we always want to grow in our journey and our walk. So what are you excited about most this new venture, stepping out on faith? So share with our viewers just kind of that what are you most excited about right now?
I'm excited about the like what I don't know what's gonna happen. Like I'm
Mhm.
just excited to see where life is gonna take me. There's so much possibility and endless opportunities, and that's something to look forward to.
Mhm. Yeah, I I've had numerous conversations, and I actually just had a person on at 7 o'clock this morning, and it was
Mhm.
I don't get too many requests. I have that time open, but
Mhm.
Monday at 7 o'clock, I was like, "Who is booking it?" I mean, I love it. I love it. He gets up at 4, and
Mhm.
he had an incredible story. I will connect you to because I think it's the same. We're all on that journey. If we open ourselves to learn, to self awareness, that self reflection, that reaching out to people, to be around people that'll lift us up, because if we do, we grow and we want
Mhm.
to grow. But today in society, the average person watches 4 hours of TV and scrolls over 2 hours of social media.
Mhm.
If we look at 18 being the time we're awake, a third of our life is consuming other people's lives.
Mhm.
I don't think God designed us to consume other people's life. He wants you to create your life, you know.
Mhm.
And our heart definitely is different when we're creating. So, what
Yes.
would you say, like, to as I want to be respectful of your time because I tell you, entrepreneur. This was said. I was on a podcast. I was listening to a podcast, and this person knew Elon Musk from past business or something, and he said, like, "How does he do all these things?" Like,
Mhm.
and he does what he calls 5 minute meetings. Like, I used to be in BNI years before my stroke, and they do these one on ones, and they're all hour, and you end up whatever the time you allocate for something, you do it. But
Mhm.
shortening when you're an entrepreneur like you're this journey, if you don't produce, you don't get paid. So
Exactly.
it's not like you get an automatic paycheck every Friday. You have to
Mhm.
make it happen, creating value, creating relationship, making people feel good. Because I love that we are all beautiful. We're creatures of God and we're
Mhm.
beautiful in our own right. But you know what? It's something about the way we feel when we look in the mirror and go, oh man, that hair, I mean, you crushed it. I look great. I feel good.
Yeah.
And so wow, I forgot my question.
It's okay. It's gonna come back.
Yeah, it will. I think my question so how do you like now that you have that time, how are you like productivity and time management? Do you like have a system or a way that you're approaching this new mindset where you do have to market because if you don't market, nobody knows about you. Nobody
Mhm.
knows. So how are you like managing your time now that you have, a salon, you have your own thing, you're creating your own business. Are you doing anything different than when previously?
Um, I have a routine, but I kind of still go with the flow. Like I'm fluid.
Mhm.
Um, I have like hours, business hours, and I have a booking site so people can go and book at least 24 hours in advance.
Mhm.
So if someone does book, then I'll readjust my schedule. But other than that, I'm literally like trusting the process. The days that I don't have a client, um, I'll Instacart or DoorDash, right? So I'm
Mhm.
out. I have the opportunity to pass out cards and say, hey, this is what I do. Just,
Oh,
yeah.
that's good. Yeah, a couple years ago, I got in. I had to take an Uber because I couldn't. I was at a place I had to get back. It was like one of the first couple times, and I met this interesting woman. She talked about as we were talking, because it was about a 45-minute ride and so she shared that she was an empty nester and she was an investor. She did, oh man, she like was going through all this stuff she's doing. And
Hmm.
the reason I do this is I meet people.
Hmm.
I meet people like you. I meet people and I try to go on the longer rides so I can have conversations with people.
Hmm.
Instead of sitting watching TV, she's out there meeting people, learning, just being.
Yes.
And I think that is so good because, yeah, you have to meet people. You have to go out there and talk to people.
Hmm.
It's like if you don't talk to people, you don't share what you're doing. How is anybody going to know what you're doing?
Exactly.
So
A
now, once
closed
you,
mouth doesn't get fed.
yes, exactly. Yeah. I mean, uh, I think this one guy I'm going to put up on this one guy said that back, this was like 20, 40 years ago, when after like in the 50s, 60s, when we just started growing families and everything, is that he said that we got this misconception about salespeople as used car salespeople that
Hmm.
it kind of got a negative connotation. So kids don't wake up and go, I want to be a salesperson. They
Hmm.
don't. But we have to sell. We have to, that's just, you don't sell, nothing happens.
Nothing happened.
You got to be out there talking to people, and that's a form of selling. But we don't
Mhm.
want to think of ourselves as entrepreneurs as we've got to pitch. We've got to let people know what we do because they're not going to read our mind and go, oh, Cookie, she must be a stylist. I better ask her if I can, they just don't do
Mhm.
that unless you engage in conversation. So tell our viewers, like, how could we'll put in the show notes links,
Okay.
but how can they get a hold of you? Or just
Okay. So my business number is 786
okay.
529 8864.
I should have okay, tell me that number again. I'm going to put it up on the screen, okay?
Okay. It's 786
Okay.
529 8864.
Yeah, if I was on top of things, I would have gotten that ahead of time.
No, it's
Tell you what.
okay.
When I was on with Tony and I forgot, he had a nice guest, and it was like he reminded me that of something I forgot. So is that the number 786 529
Yes.
8864? So
Yes.
if you know of people that can serve, that need cookie services, and
Mhm.
what area will you be working in, about, like, generally?
It's the Smyrna area, like South Cobb
Okay.
Drive, over in that area.
Okay. Well,
But
look, if yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but soon I will be offering traveling services as well
Okay.
for those that aren't mobile, or that just want to be comfortable in their
Mhm.
space,
Mhm.
because there are people, out there that's like that. They can feel free to reach out. If they have any questions, we can
Mhm.
schedule a consultation, or, anything like that.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, look, share this video with people
Okay.
in that area. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about
Oh,
our
okay.
viewers, but yeah, no, you can too. I mean, I'm not saying,
Yes.
but our viewers are they're very giving. They're very want to help. We want all, what is it? The old saying, "Oh, all boats rise." So we help each other. We support each other. We encourage each other. We challenge each other. So
Hmm.
as we wind down, would you share, what would you want our viewers, the one thing you would want our viewers to take home from our time on this podcast?
Never give up and remain faithful. I am a testimony, a walking testimony to defying the odds and remaining faithful and figuring it out. Just trusting God.
Well, I love that. I love it. Man, your heart just exploded through our viewership on that. Thank you so much. Thanks for
Thank
taking
you.
the time to be with our community and sharing the start of your big journey, because the future is bright and Cookie is going to make her impact out there. So if you know of people, that just reach out to Cookie. Her number's there, 786 529 8864. So thank you so much. We appreciate you being